As a people, a lot of our stories and folktales are deeply engraved in bravery. Our stories follows the life of individuals who decided to live outside the norms, and it is clear beyond reasonable doubt that Nigerians are known to be very brave people. But what is bravery? Come, let me tell you a story. This story happened in a small village near the big mountains of Jos. There was a boy named Emeka. Emeka was 10 years old and he was very cautious. Kids who are always curious about things. He loved exploring new places, climbing trees and running around the village with his best friend Amina. He spent every day discovering new things and having fun. One afternoon, while Emeka and Amina were playing near the forest, they heard an old man telling a story to some children under a very big tree. His name was Baba Jibril. He was the village elder. He always told exciting stories, folk tales and very catchy tales, and everyone in the village loved him and they liked to listen to him. Today he was talking about the mystery cave in the mountains of Jos. Baba Jibril began his story. Long time ago, there was a cave hidden in the deep mountains and no one has ever entered it. Not for so many years. There was this strange thing that always happens in that cave. Sometimes you hear whispers. Other times you might see lights flickering, but no one knows. But no one knows what's inside. Emeka and Amina, yes, hecked up. A cave? Mysterious. This was the most exciting thing that they had heard all day. After Baba Jibril finished his story, Emeka turned to Amina and whispered, "We have heard and we have to find that cave." Amina's eyes grew with excitement. But Emeka, what if the cave is dangerous? Baba Jibril said something strange happens there. Emeka grinned. That is why we must go. We must be the first ones to discover the secrets of the cave. He said this excitingly. Don't you want to know what is inside? He asked. After thinking for a moment, Amina nodded. She loved adventures too. Wow, I want to go. I want to see what Baba Jibril has been saying. Even if she was a bit scared. All right, she said. But we have to be very careful. The next day, they packed some food, water, and small lantern in case it got dark. They told their parents they are going to explore the forest, but they didn't mention the cave because they knew the grown-ups wouldn't allow it. With everything ready, Emeka and Amina set off towards the mountain. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. The path to the mountains was long and windy, but Emeka and Amina were determined. They climbed over the rocks, walked through tall grasses, and even crossed a small stream. By noon, they finally reached the cave. Now, the real adventure began. The mountain was tall, covered with so many trees. The air was cooler, fresh, and everything was quiet, except for the rustle of the leaves. Emeka and Amina searched around, looking for any sign of the mysterious cave that Baba Jibril talked about. They walked and walked and walked for so many hours. There was no cave in sight. I'm sure you were also shocked. But just when they started to feel tired and a little bit discouraged, Amina shouted, "Emeka, look!" She pointed to a large rock hidden behind some bushes. Emeka's eyes glowed and was shocked. They are half hidden under vines and leaves. Was the entrance into the cave. It was dark and a little bit, scary. But it was definitely the cave we were looking for. "We found it!" Emeka said excitedly. The entrance was narrow and they had to squeeze through. Once inside, it was cold and dark. But Emeka lit the lantern and the soft glow filled the cave. The walls were rough, very rough, and the floor was covered in small stones. It smelled like earth and old water. They walked deeper and deeper into the cave. The further they went, the quieter it became. Even though their footsteps seemed to disappear into the silence, suddenly Emeka stopped. "Do you hear that?" he asked, his voice barely above the whisper. Amina listened carefully. That was a faint sound. Silent, soft whispers coming from the deep inside the cave. She said, "I don't like this. I don't like this." Amina said, holding onto Emeka's arm. "It's okay," Emeka said, though his heart was beating fast. "We have come this far, Amina. Let's keep going forward." As they moved further in, the whisper grew louder. The cave walls seemed to shimmer as if they were alive. Suddenly, there was a bright flashlight, and both the children gasped. What could it be? "Stay close," Emeka whispered. "Amina, stay close." They moved slowly towards the light, and as soon as they saw something unbelievable, at the center of the cave was a glowing stone. It was floating in the air, spinning slowly, and it seemed like nothing they had ever seen before. "What is this?" Amina whispered, her eyes with great amazement shining like a diamond. "I don't know," Emeka replied, "but it looks magical." Just then, the ground beneath them began to rumble. They were all shaky. The cave shook greatly. The dust fell from the ceiling. They heard a deep voice, though they couldn't tell where it was coming from. "Who dares enter these caves?" the voice boomed. Emeka and Amina froze. The voice sounded powerful and a little angry. We are sorry," Emeka stammered. We didn't mean any harm. We didn't mean any harm. We are just curious. The cave was silent for a moment. And then the voice spoke again. This cave holds great power, and only the brave can live unharmed. To escape, you must solve my riddle. Amina and Nika looked at each other very nervously. A little riddle? What if you couldn't solve it? The voice spoke again. Here is my riddle. I am not alive, but I can grow. I don't have lungs, but I need air. I am not human, but I can die. What am I? The cave was silent again, waiting for their answers. Emeka thought hard and hard. What could it be? Something that grows, needs air, but doesn't live. He looked at Amina, hoping she had an idea. She looked just as puzzled. Then suddenly, Emeka had an idea. Fire! He shouted. The answer is fire! He shouted. The ground rumbled again. They thought they might be trapped. But then the voice spoke once more, sounding pleased. You are correct. Fire is the answer. You may leave the cave in peace. The glowing stone began to fade, and the whispers disappeared. The cave was quiet, and the path they had come through was now clear. Emeka and Amina quickly made their way out, their hearts still racing from the adventure. Once they were outside, they took a deep breath of fresh air. The sun was setting, and the sky was a beautiful mix of pink and orange. We did it! Amina said, smiling with relief. Emeka nodded. We solved the puzzle, we solved the riddle, and discovered the mystery of the cave. As they walked back to the village, they couldn't help but feel proud of their bravery. They had faced the mysterious cave of Jos and lived to tell the tale. But they also knew that they had to keep this adventure a no secret. If they tell, no one would believe them. But they told the truth about the cave, the glowing stone, and the booming voice. From that day on, whenever Emeka and Amina looked at the mountains, the great mountains of Jos, they smiled, knowing that they had uncovered its greatest secrets. And though they promised not to return to that cave, the memory of the adventure stayed with them forever. This is one of the most interesting stories I've ever told. The end! So, I hope you enjoyed my story. You can get more of this when you like, share, and subscribe to our channels.